Thanks for joining us on this Sunday. Canada's spy agency has started reaching out to more elected officials to brief them on foreign interference, including former Conservative leader Erin O'Toole and NDP MP Jenny Kwan. This comes as a Chinese diplomat was expelled from the country. That happened on Friday. He finally left for allegedly targeting Conservative MP Michael Chong and his family overseas. I spoke to the Public Safety Minister, Mendicino, on Friday about the government's response and its upcoming foreign agent registry. Minister Mendicino, thanks for making the time.
Thank you again for having me.
So your government is moving forward on a foreign agent registry. Do you, at this sense, have an idea of who will have to register, how it's going to work?
Those are good questions, and that's exactly what we have been digging into through the past number of weeks through a public consultation that will inform the foreign agent registry. So looking at the principles and the entities, the types of activities that will be required to be registered to promote transparency around legitimate diplomatic activities, but also to disrupt and to deter any potential activities which go beyond, including foreign interference is at the very heart of the rationale of creating this new mechanism. I would just point out that it is not a panacea, that in addition to that, we also have to make sure that we are putting in place other measures and authorities, but also being transparent and upfront with Canadians about how it is that we are protecting all of our institutions, including our democracy, from foreign interference.
So in the interest of transparency, then, will it be publicly accessible? Will it be something that people could go on and search for a name and it will pop up, or no, it's something that is just sort of an internal tool?
Well, certainly we're looking at models, including like the lobby registry, which has a website and a portal so that Canadians can see exactly who is participating in what activity. That's certainly a potential blueprint. But the most important thing is that we continue to engage and bring Canadians along in the creation of new tools.
There is a bill in the Senate right now, as you know, on the foreign agent registry. If you wanted to do this quickly, you could take it up, change it as you wanted, and have it passed within weeks. Why not do that?
In short, because we have to make sure that we get this right. And I've had a discussion with the sponsor of that private member's bill, but I've also engaged with other parliamentarians, including in the Senate, who suggest that it isn't pitch perfect, that it also needs to be recalibrated and tailored. And that's why we launched the public consultation period. And now I want to take the next steps as quickly and as decisively as we can in the creation of this new registry, but also bringing along Canadians who themselves may be targeted through various marginalization, stigmatization, stereotyping, and who are rightfully concerned that we get this right. My assurance to them is that we will.
Okay, a few other questions. There have been reports, as you know, that there were are other MPs who have been targeted by China or other countries. Are you aware of who they are? I mean, I'm not asking you to name them, but are you aware of who they are? Have those people been told now that they are being targeted?
Rosie, I totally understand why it is that you are asking that question. At the same time, as you know, I am constrained by the law under the Security of Information Act about what I can share around classified briefings. But here's what I can tell you. The government recognizes and acknowledges that foreign interference is a challenging and a sensitive issue, and it has definitely evolved over the last number of years. But our plan focuses on three things. One, preventing harm to our democratic institutions by providing proactive briefings to parliamentarians. Second, protecting Canadians from foreign interference, and we have additional money earmarked in Budget 2023 to do just that. And then finally, zeroing in on accountability for foreign interference, including and up to expelling foreign diplomats who cross the line, and that is something that we did very recently. So by having that plan, we can be sure that we are protecting Canadians, including parliamentarians, so that we can be sure that we are able to protect our institutions.
Can I assume, though, that if there are other parliamentarians who have been targeted by other countries, that someone has spoken to them, given what you've just said there, that they haven't been made aware of whatever information you have or the intelligence agencies have?
I think opening up and engaging parliamentarians through our security and intelligence agencies is definitely a key part of the strategy. And I would point out that in the last 2 weeks, we tabled the CSIS 2022 annual report, which talked about 49 briefings to federal parliamentarians. I think building on that work, also getting feedback from parliamentarians from their own experiences, educating them, expanding our toolkit, ensuring that Canadians themselves are broadly informed and educated about the threats to foreign interference is one of the ways in which we can shield ourselves from that threat.
So China has been held accountable for its actions. Who is being held accountable for the failure for this warning, this bit of intelligence, not getting to where it needed to go? Is that your responsibility? Is that the Prime Minister's responsibility? Who is being held accountable for the fact that that information did not get to Mr. Chong, did not seemingly get to you or to others, and that no one was aware of it until recently?
Well, first, I would just point out that at the time, Minister Blair, who was in the chair, did make it clear that he only found out at the same time as the Prime Minister and myself. Right. What I would say is that by having this new rigorous standard in place, that we can strengthen our reporting protocols so that we can be accountable when it comes to the actions that we are taking to protect parliamentarians from foreign interference. And that is important. And that is on top of the other concrete actions that the government is taking to put in place powers and authorities and transparency as we explain this work.
Yeah, I hear you, but I've also heard you say, that CSIS bears some responsibility here. There's obviously a failure of some kind. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at, Minister. A failure of communication or a failure to understand what kind of intelligence matters and needs to be flagged up. And I'm wondering who is accountable for that failure.
Well, I think this gets back to the first comment that I made off the top, which is that foreign interference vis-a-vis democratic institutions, parliamentarians, has evolved rapidly even since 2021. And as we learn those lessons, it is important that we revisit reporting protocols so that information is put directly before me when it comes to foreign interference in parliamentarians. Information is put directly before the Prime Minister when it comes to the same threat. And by having in place these reporting protocols, we can strengthen accountability, we can strengthen transparency.
Do you think that there was a sense in the intelligence agencies within CSIS or elsewhere that the government does not care enough about national security, and so these issues did not need to go to the top of the pile? Because that also could be the problem, that there was not a culture of wanting to know about this inside government.
I can't speak to the motivations of any individual who would take it upon themselves to breach their sworn obligation to protect classified information.
But that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking you whether the government made it clear to people within intelligence agencies or security advisors that these were issues that you cared about. Because it didn't make it to the top of the pile. You've only now had to say that these are issues that you care about. So how can we be sure that that was a message that was clearly communicated to them?
Of course the government cares about protecting our institutions and the people that work from foreign interference. There's no other possible conclusion that anyone could draw based on the record that we have put forward in our plan. When you look at the landmark legislation that we have passed, giving CSIS additional threat reduction measure powers, cracking down on foreign interference which could be used to interfere with our election, creating unprecedented new committees and agencies to significantly raise transparency around the work that we do in national security, which has produced concrete work, like the recommendations that have come from NCCOP that we are now acting on through the creation of a national coordinator of foreign interference, putting in place the mechanisms to create a registry.
I get all that, Minister, and yet I get all that, Minister, and yet here we are. Here we are, and this failure happened, and I guess I'm trying to understand why it happened, where the failure was, and where the frustration for you might lie.
Well, I think it's first recognizing that body of work, all of those examples that I've cited, is there to instill confidence in Canadians that we take this issue very seriously and that we will continue to be vigilant to protect our democratic institutions and Canadians. But equally, we can't rest on our laurels. We're looking forward to receiving the report from David Johnston, which will allow us to take a look at the recommendations. And I am very anxious, as you can well imagine, as to what he may say about things around internal governance and national security. This is a challenging issue, but we will continue to put all of our effort into it because we know that foreign interference is a significant challenge, but we have in place that plan that is focused on prevention, on protection, and on accountability.
Minister, we'll leave it there. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rosie.